My advice to the young teens, embrace your quirks because your 20-year-old self will appreciate you for it. I didn't have a lot of money like when I was a teen. I probably did this 4 times. I would start a project and I wouldn't be able to finish it because my expectations were too exaggerated. Create realistic goals whenever you're building a mock. Start small and work your way up. That's how I think the best thing to not get into a dark age, through the mock building perspective. Because I think setting realistic expectations and goals is big. Dream big, but make sure they're realistic.
Hello everyone, and welcome to TFOL Talk, the podcast where we shine a light on awesome teen fans in the LEGO community doing amazing things, and maybe the occasional AFOL too. I'm Doodlebricks, aka Kavi, and today we're going to be hanging out with Ethan, otherwise known as EthanTheArtisan. How are you doing, man?
Hello, I am doing awesome. I'm excited to be here.
That's fantastic. Excited to have you here. So I'd say let's just hop in with the first question, which is, who is Ethan the Artisan and what do you do in the LEGO world?
Ooh, so my name's Ethan. Ethan the Artisan on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And I am a LEGO mock builder who builds all sorts of things, from wacky character builds to maybe landscapes to really whatever I want to. The only thing I haven't really built is a LEGO train, which maybe I need to add that to my mock portfolio. But other than that, I was also on LEGO Masters season 3 on Fox, that was a phenomenal experience, and I did that with my friend and teammate Cool Guy Dom02. And it was a great experience. It was super cool. And we also got a lot of we won 90,000 Lego bricks. Not to spoil it if you haven't seen it. But Ooh. That was super cool. And then I am also a content creator that posts a bunch of short form videos on basically all the platforms, and I occasionally do a long form as well. And it's super fun to do. It's I get to kind of release my personality with those videos, which is it's super cool.
That is fantastic. You have definitely done like a lot of really varied things, which is super cool. And we will definitely be hopping into a lot of the things you mentioned there a bit later on in the episode. But next, I want to ask, how old are you, by the way, if I may ask?
So right now I am 20, and I'll be turning 21 in a few weeks, actually.
Really? Ooh, that's exciting. Mm-hmm. Well, happy early birthday, that's for sure.
Thank you.
So how and when did you get into LEGO?
Okay, so I grew up with I'm the youngest in my family. I grew up with older brothers, and they were huge fans of LEGO, and I kind of just hopped right in with them. I grew up homeschooled, so I'm very close with my family, and basically LEGO was that way to get even closer together, which was super cool. But kind of hopped in with them with getting sets, and my very first LEGO set was we all got it together, was the 2008 Republic Gunship, which is a legendary set. It was in my brother's room for many years until a few years ago I was like, hey, I want this. And I took it, which is an awesome set. Then a few years go by, and I discovered the LEGO community online, which is super cool. I started watching some YouTube videos. Like LEGO Buff Productions was the first YouTube channel, that LEGO YouTube channel that I watched, and it was during what I call the clone base era, where during like 2013, 2014 era, really, it really started in like 2008, but that's when I kind of hopped on with it. I started watching like LEGO Buff Productions and Chris Productions, a bunch of big LEGO YouTubers at the time. They built these giant LEGO Star Wars clone bases, and that was just, I remember watching that, and 10-year-old me was like, I have to do this. And that was kind of what sparked me becoming like a mock builder and more, I guess, social media, content creator, which is super cool. Then after a few years of really watching all the Clone Wars and a lot of Lego YouTube, I started my own YouTube channel, and kind of right when COVID started, I kind of started posting on TikTok, which is that's a whole other thing, but that's kind of what started the short form side of it, and I started posting, TikToks, and the thing that really kicked off TikTok were there are two Lego trends, and not just Lego community trends. This is like TikTok trends. Everyone used Lego Star Wars profile pictures as their profile picture, even non-Lego people, and also the tensegrity. So those were two trends that kind of I hopped on very early, and for many years my profile picture was my sig fig, which is a Lego minifigure of myself. That was my profile picture for many years, and I built a Lego Star Wars tensegrity, which was from Star Wars, the duel on Mustafar with Anakin and Obi-Wan, which is one of my favorite builds because I eventually added lights to it, and it's just super cool, and you can see it in the background of many of my videos. Then after a little bit, a few more years on TikTok, I kind of moved to YouTube as well, which I've had a YouTube channel since 2016. But really, once Shorts became a thing, I started just uploading those TikToks to YouTube, and they performed even better than when they were posted on TikTok, and that kind of eventually kind of led to where I am with YouTube too. Which now it's like I create a short form video and I post it on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and that's kind of like been my thing. And eventually getting on Lego Masters, which that was so unexpected because it all happened so quick. It was 2022, I believe. I might have that year wrong, but it all happened so quickly. It's like I hit 1 million pretty quickly on TikTok. Then Lego Masters reached out to me, and then it's just everything happened so quick, which is super cool. It's like that's when the crazy started to happen. So that's super cool. Then, the rest is history.
That's so cool to hear, though. You've really been on just a constant upward, like an ascent with your content and everything in the Lego world, it seems like, over the years. It's just been cool thing after cool thing, it seems like. And that's so cool to hear, once again, how you got into it from your older siblings. May I ask, how many siblings do you have?
I have two older brothers.
You have two older brothers. Okay.
One's 2 years older than me, and one's 5 years older than me.
All right, I see. That's cool. So they're the ones who kind of got you infected with the Lego bug then.
Yes.
That's so cool. What was it like kind of having to share a collection with brothers like that?
It was crazy at first because the middle brother, at the time I shared a room with him, which is the exact room where I'm sitting. it's we had a bunk bed. So all the Lego, it was crazy, but I eventually kind of inherited it all at the end. They kind of eventually got out of it. They still collect a set here and there, but most of it all came down to me. But it just really improved the relationship with us as siblings. I'm very close with my brothers.
That's amazing to hear how it really it offered a way for you guys to connect with each other on a deeper level as well, and bond over a shared interest like that.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so you mentioned that things started to really blow up for you when you started posting content on TikTok. What was kind of the progression of that? What made you start? I'm assuming you started posting content on TikTok because of the 2020 lockdowns, right? But what was kind of the journey of that?
Okay, so this is kind of a funny story. My middle brother, he's big into cosplay. He has a whole Halo armor, which is super cool. He made it out of UVA foam, and he even went to a convention and won some awards with that, which was super cool. He's really good with making props and cosplaying, at least at the time. And he created a TikTok, and this is very early TikTok. To me, this is the height of TikTok. He created an account, and one video got him over 10,000 followers, and he kept kind of posting on that. And I was a struggling YouTube channel, with just that did long form. So his views really interest me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to, I basically copied his first video that he did, but turned it into Lego. And I was like, this is going to blow up just like he did. And I posted that video, and it didn't do well. It only got it was small. So I posted another one, and it didn't do well either. So I kind of just gave up on TikTok. I didn't, basically, I kind of watched my brother. I think he got up to close to 200,000 followers, which is super cool. And that, he's basically the reason why I'm on TikTok. But I was like, okay, I'm not even going to care about views. I just love the type of content this is. This is probably 6 months after I posted that first video. But I was like, I just enjoy making these videos. So I was like, I don't care about the views. So I just started posting videos, and it wasn't just like that. It was a very slow grow at first. So I started, making videos, just this is during early lockdown, so it's there's a lot of cringy videos at first, especially. And it's very different than how my content is now. It's kind of, I followed trends at first, and I eventually did the tensegrity video, and I believe at the time it got me it was over 500,000 views, which at the time, that was mind blowing to me. 500,000 views, that was crazy. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to do more mocks. And I was like, okay, this is fun. So I started doing more mocks. I believe the first time I said I spent 10 minutes building something out of Lego was a little castle that I built. I was like, because it's been I was like, it would be super cool to show the process of building, but it's very difficult, especially at first when you don't really know how to do it. So I just did it. It's not the best video at first, but I believe the key to achieving your goals is to just throw yourself at it and just see what you can do and learn from there and trial and error. So I just threw myself at it, and that video did really well for me. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I basically, that's when I started just building a ton. And they're really small at first too. It was a little castle. Then I believe the third or fourth one was the singing chicken nuggets, which is kind of a inside joke for my channel. Then, just did a ton of things. And almost every video was, I spent 10 minutes building something out of Lego. So I did a ton of those. Then really just doing more of those, and then it kind of, every few months, it kind of evolves into something new, because every video you make, you learn something new, and you're like, okay. Then you kind of start becoming really good with analytics and kind of predicting things. I'm like, okay, it's going this way and that way. And even my content now is very different than it was 6 months ago. So it's really cool to kind of look back at your older self or your younger self and see how much you've grown and changed, which is super cool.
Yeah, I like what you were saying there about kind of like noticing the change you've gone through, even over such a short time of just 6 months. And also just how you mentioned just starting something, right? Not overthinking it too much and just getting into it and then improving from there. Because that's a really important thing that I think a lot of people forget about.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool to hear, though. And as well, at the time, TikTok was also that was the place to be at the time. That was the peak of TikTok's popularity and all that, if I'm correct anyways. So you started at a really good point as well to optimize people seeing your content.
Yeah, yes, and there weren't many other Lego content creators at the time. There was, me, Matt Mellish, Breaking Up Brad, Epic Bricks, Cool Guy Dom. There's kind of that core, that small group of Lego TikTokers that kind of, now Lego TikTok, there's so many different Lego TikTokers. It's but it's just so cool to, you're kind of going into an app where the Lego community isn't really big, and kind of, I think that's also why I'm where I'm at, is I was there very early.
Right, yeah, you guys were the first wave of proper well done Lego content on there. And that's another really cool thing you mentioned there about kind of bringing what you specialize in to a platform where there isn't much of that already. And yeah, that's just that really worked out so well for you and all the others who got really big from TikTok. And I'm wondering, do you think there'll be another app in the future or social media platform where Lego will become big on?
This is definitely something that I've thought of and kind of preparing for, because if there is, you got to act at that right time. But there might be in the future. What if TikTok just disappeared like that? Which over the last couple of years, you've kind of had those little TikTok things, and like, is it about to get banned? So I
Right.
believe it. You never know, but it's also something to be prepared for. All my shorts, have them in your camera roll ready to post when there is a new app. So I think one day, yes, but I don't know when.
All right. That's pretty cool. That's cool. So, did you start taking mocking seriously, like really seriously, as like a proper hobby or passion when you started making content, or did it start a bit before that?
So, like, whenever I think of like Lego as a hobby, it is mock building, and I've been building mocks for as long as I remember. Whether I probably at the time didn't know what a mock meant, but I remember building things when I was like 5 years old, that young. So I've been building for a very long time. I was heavily into Star Wars. That was like my main theme growing up. So I built a lot of Star Wars growing up, and then kind of once I discovered the Lego community, I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of I could actually show people more than just my family and friends these Lego builds. I could show it to the world, which is it's something that means the world to me. Not only building something that you love, but sharing it to other people."
But yeah, so when did you start to take it like as like a serious thing rather than just like, oh, this is fun, like, oh, this is something that I do properly now?
I mean, social media definitely was like when I started showing my builds on, YouTube and TikTok. That's kind of like when I became consistent with it. I build, I build probably every day. As I build as much as I can. But that's like, it really didn't become serious until like I started consistently with social media.
I see. So social media has really helped you keep consistent with your skills and just enjoyment of building as well. That's really cool. And I have a question. So I've heard a decent amount of people, well, like Lego content creators anyways, say that if it wasn't for content, they probably wouldn't stay like in the Lego space or like doing stuff with Lego, if they weren't creating content with it. Would you say that's the same for you, or do you think you'd still be just building mocks just for your own fun, even if there wasn't content involved with it at all? It was just kind of for you and your family and all that.
That is a good question. If social media didn't exist, I think Lego is just a part of me now that I think even if social media didn't exist, I think I would still build just because I truly love it. And I believe that's how I'm able to just post so much is I don't think I can get burned out because I truly love it. Now, and there's definitely some days where I'm like, okay, let's kind of chill, but I will always come back to it, whether it's for a video or not. Like with most recently with the Enchanted Forest collab, like especially I think conventions kind of would replace it more too, because we did Maticus Bricks. He built this Enchanted Forest that was shown in Virginia. And in Atlanta BrickCon, we all created a group and a collab where we all made what we thought an enchanted forest would look like. So we had this long line of builds that were based off his enchanted forest mock, and it was just it was the coolest experience too. So if social media didn't exist, I think I would still build. Another thing that I would like to look at it is social media is kind of like I love social media. I love making videos. It's become a new passion for me. But I also love Lego and building Lego. And it's kind of there. It's become side by side things where it's like I love Lego and I love making videos. And sometimes I don't feel like making videos, but sometimes I want to build a Lego mock that I want to show. So it's kind of like they kind of equal out.
They go hand in hand, right? They like feed each other.
Yes.
So like when you're not feeling one, you can do the other and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I really like what you said about conventions as well, because it is like the kind of other side to the Lego community that, isn't the social media based stuff, but is also like a really integral part of the community as a whole as well, with people just coming together in person, sharing their builds, getting to meet their Lego friends in person, which I think most people don't have like a consistent Lego group where they are. So it's nice to be able to actually like come together in person as well.
Yeah, it's the coolest thing.
Okay, got a question from Claire's Creations, who asks, how do you plan your mocks?
That's a good question. A lot of times I look at digital art especially on like for instance, if I'm building a character and I look, sometimes I look at digital art online, whether it's clip art or digital art of just maybe just random characters that I like. Because sometimes I do look, just on Google or Pinterest, just digital art or some kind of like reference material with some builds. So I kind of just do a screenshot of that and kind of take inspiration from that, kind of start on the what I think the most important features are, and kind of trial and error around that. But there honestly isn't too much planning. It's kind of just trial and error. I have the visual in my head, and I kind of just try to recreate that as best as I can. But let me see. I would say trial and error is like the biggest factor behind that.
I see. So you're more someone who enjoys just like working with the pieces right there and figuring it out as you go, rather than like planning it out beforehand and then executing it. Yeah.
Yes, and as like another factor is like looking up digital art, on Pinterest or whatever.
Exactly. That's a good technique as well, because like I think me included, a lot of people tend to forget that like just like you would with drawing or painting, it helps a lot to look up like references or inspiration for what you want to build as well from other sources outside of just other Lego builds.
I have so many screenshots of my phone of just random, like whether it's Pinterest or just something from Google. I have hundreds of them. Just, oh, I like that screenshot.
Yup, I feel you as well, dude. I have like an entire like folder filled with just like build ideas. It's everything from like other builds to like concept art to character design. It is crazy.
I'm not as organized as you are. They're just thrown in the middle of my camera roll. I need to create a folder for it.
You have to just like go through and like find them scattered throughout your camera roll.
Yeah, it's like if I'm like, oh, I remember one.
I feel you,
My camera roll in my phone, I have like 9,000 photos and over 2,000 videos in my phone. So if I need to look for something, it's like sometimes it takes forever. I've been dealing with storage problems for the longest time, and I just finally got iCloud, extra 200 gigs, the best purchase ever.
Yeah, that is definitely helpful. My God, I feel you though. I feel you with the storage space thing. On my iPad, I have 57,000 photos, which are mostly screenshots of things. And like 2,462 videos
with that.
Right? Definitely. Oh my God, though, yeah. I mean, I feel you about the
crazy.
storage space thing, though, definitely. It's so bad. It's so bad. And it's mostly screenshots, too, which is what's worse.
Yeah.
All right, let me see.
57,000, that's a lot.
I know. That's from, like, all the way back in, like, 2018. Like, 2018, yeah. So a
6 years
stupid amount. So, you said that you started out with mostly like Star Wars mocks and all that, but in more like recent years, you have kind of switched to a much bigger variety of builds that you do. So what kind of started that switch from mostly Star Wars to a bunch of other things?
This is okay. So Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars community is probably the biggest part in the Lego. Like if there's a pie chart of like different sub communities within the Lego community, Lego Star Wars is probably the biggest. It's one of the biggest. With the Lego sets and the mocks, it's one of the bigger communities. And it's very difficult to stand out in that community because there's only so much that you can build in Star Wars. Like if you're if you want to build mocks, Hoth is great, but you're not gonna stand out with if you build a Hoth mock and post it on social media. So that's kind of what started the change. I'm like, I want to stand out, and I want to kind of, I want to show my personality more, and you can only do that so much with realistic Star Wars builds. So that's kind of what kind of started it, and then kind of once I kind of started posting weird things, it started to do really well, and I loved building it. It's like it's weird. Imagine going from Lego Star Wars builds to singing chicken nuggets and wacky character builds. It's a crazy transformation, but it's absolutely fun. And I'm like, and it kind of was really fun. It's something that you want to keep when it's like really fun. It's like building Lego Star Wars is fun, but it's like building singing chicken nuggets or what else have I built? It's hard to think of. Like, I build a lot, and sometimes I forget what I build. So it's like looking around my room. It's like I have a crown, and I have a lot of just variation of builds because I keep most of them. I look around my room and it's like it's very cluttered, which is like, oh. But that was like the start of it.
Wow, so you keep most of your builds. That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It gets to a point where it's very difficult. Now there are some bigger ones that I do see myself destroying. Like I built most recently I built a large Lord of the Rings, the "You Shall Not Pass" scene from Lord of the Rings, and that used a lot of my dark bluish gray slopes. And whenever I have another idea that I'm going to want to build a mountain, I'm probably going to have to take that one apart because it used a lot of them.
I get what you're saying. That makes sense. But that's very impressive that you keep together as many as you can, because I know like a lot of people even just like destroy their builds just right after a con. Like I've seen people just wreck them like right after it's done, and I'm like, no. But yeah. Anyways, though, I love what you said before as well about like standing out in the Lego world kind of, and not really having a lot of space to do that in the Star Wars mock space specifically, just because of the nature of like Star Wars vehicles and how you just kind of transitioned into other things because of your kind of want to stand out. And I think that's really, really cool, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are so many Lego Star Wars builders that they're crazy talented, and they're able to replicate something perfectly just through the art of Lego. And I'm like, I'll let them have that trophy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and it's kind of like once like you said there, it's basically it's not anything to do with the builders themselves. It's just with the nature of the property. It's more making replicas of certain places or iconic ships, which there's only so much room to innovate within that. So I think that's cool that you kind of noticed that and wanted to kind of form more of your own identity with your mocks and your, I guess, like mock persona online as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and honestly, Lego Masters also helped a lot with that too.
Really? How so?
Yes, with kind of coming up with original ideas, because on Lego Masters they don't do like, I guess they did do a Star Wars one in season 1, but kind of creating an original idea behind of that. Because I remember preparing, I was like, ooh, okay, I can't just build Star Wars. I have to build something that's a unique idea and has story and cool parts and color. It gave me a lot of things to think about whenever building a mock, like especially for Lego Masters.
I see what you're saying there. It really forced you to kind of like change up your building style and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Because it's one of those things where you can't just learn it for 2 days, and like you can't just 2 days before steady for the test and take it. You have to kind of, your instincts kind of kick in whenever you have 10 hours to build something.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I did at the convention Bricktastic in the UK. I did a kind of like, they have like a little spin-off of Lego Masters there called Bricktastic Masters, where it's like there's teams of 2 and they get given like 3 big sets to build something out of within like 3 hours. And I was doing that. My partner was Simon, or Simox, the coordinator of the big collaborative build in
I love him.
And as he's great, isn't he? But yeah, he was my teammate.
Buttloads of fun.
He did fantastic. He is. And we were just like going at it. And I was just there thinking like, oh, this is stressful enough. How do they do it on Lego Masters? Like, jeez.
Yeah, it's stressful.
I can't imagine. And kind of on that topic, what was the actual building experience on Lego Masters like?
It felt very like serious. It's like, but it was also really fun. But it's like, it was stressful. That's a good way to put it. Just kind of, and we were kind of brought in mid-season, so we kind of just felt behind If y'all don't know, we were me and Dom were brought in as a surprise team in the after episode 3. So we felt behind our whole time on Lego Masters, basically 3 episodes behind, and we didn't know the brick pit and all that. But we eventually kind of with our situation, I think we handled it well. But it was very stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I remember like hearing you guys say at one point that a lot of people like I know a lot of people gave you flack for coming in late even though it wasn't your guys' choice. But I find it interesting that like kind of the situation there where it didn't actually give you guys an advantage because you had more to catch up on and kind of learn around there rather than what it looked like, which is, oh, they get to skip like 3 episodes. It's like, no, you guys actually have to adapt more because everyone else has gotten used to the space, right?
Yeah, I learned through trial and error, and that's 3 less episodes that trial and error works. But another thing that was kind of, I wouldn't say difficult, but me and Dom had never really built before the show. So it was really fun, learning how to communicate, building for the first time with Dom. Like, if me and Dom were brought back, I know Dom so much more now. So I feel like it would be just a piece of cake now, kind of communicating. We know what each other want. But back then, we knew each other, but it's like that was our first time kind of interacting with each other and building together. So that was also it was fun.
Exactly. You kind of had to like learn each other's, I guess, building dynamics, right? And like how you both work as builders and then adjusting to that with then working together on a build as well.
Exactly.
And what was I going to say? Yeah, so if I may ask, if you're allowed to talk about it, how come you guys were brought in a few episodes late?
Honestly, I still don't really know. It was a producer's choice. Me and Dom flew to Georgia, where Lego Masters was filmed, with the expectation of coming in at episode 1. But that Saturday before filming, which I believe it was Monday when it started filming, one of the two of the main producers came up to us and was like, "Okay, so we have this idea, for y'all to come in at the end of episode 3," and me and Dom were like, "What?" Because at first we were kind of against it, but it was if we didn't say yes, I think we would have gone home. So it was like that kind of situation. But yeah, it was crazy. Very like the whole Lego Masters journey. A lot of unexpected things happened. It felt like, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was an amazing experience.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I can see how that can definitely be like kind of take you off guard. Like you come in, you're like, right, we're gonna start it out like everyone else, and they're like, guys, hold on, you're gonna start 3 episodes late. And yeah, I could definitely see how that could like throw you guys. But once again, you did a really good job. Yeah.
The hard thing though was me and Dom were put in a separate hotel for like 9 days doing nothing until episode 3 happened. I kid you not, that was the longest 9 days ever of doing nothing.
God, oh, that must have been so annoying because once again you guys are like ready to start and so it's like we have to wait to be on Lego Masters. It's right there, but we can't be on yet.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I can imagine. That's interesting to hear that it was like a producer idea though for the show, because when I first saw that, I was really like trying to rack my brain like, okay, why are they on 3 episodes late? And I was like, was there like a complication with the plane? Did they like come in late or something? Or is there like some issue in the background or something like that? But that's interesting to hear, and I think probably a lot of people were wondering that. So thanks for kind of like clarifying that for anyone who didn't know.
There were a lot of rumors everywhere, especially on like Reddit. A lot of people I think thought it was like school related. Like we're coming in late because of school, but I don't really know. There's a lot of rumors around it.
I see. Well, that wouldn't really make sense with the school thing, considering you're homeschooled.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I love that. Well, that's cool to know.
It was fun reading all the comments on Reddit about us because we were a main topic.
Yeah, I heard Reddit wasn't too kind to you guys. I'm not really there, but I heard that they were not very nice.
It taught me to be numb to hate comments.
That's good. Not to take them to heart, exactly. Because, like,
Yeah.
once again, they have no idea about what was going on behind the scenes as well. And question, so after, like, the 9 days of you guys waiting in pain in that hotel while everybody else was doing Lego Masters, did you guys get switched to, like, a hotel with the rest of the guys afterwards? Or how did that work?
Yes, it was. We were immediately brought to that main hotel where everyone stayed at, which was great. But that first time, we moved rooms 3 times. Kind of. We moved to that main hotel, with everyone, and of course we met with everyone beforehand. But they thought we got sent home. We were just an alternate team that got sent home, so that was what they thought. Then we got moved to another hotel. Then we got moved back to that main hotel, which that first room that we were at the floor 1 right next to the lobby. So it was like, that's great. Then we got moved to the other hotel, and then when we got moved back, we were on like one of the top floors. So it's like, oh.
Oh my god. Yeah, I see. That must have been like kind of a fun thing. I can imagine though, like everybody thinking you'd gone and then like, "Hey, we're back."
Yeah. What's funny, when we were me and Dom were first introduced, we had our we were introduced. Will Arnett is right there in the judges, and we had like our little things, what we were supposed to say. So when I walk up, Will Arnett goes and introduced us, and your names are, and I was supposed to say my name is Ethan, and I couldn't remember my name, so it's like I'm standing there for like a good 30 to 40 seconds, just red, super red, just trying to think because I was so overwhelmed. I'm like, my name is Ethan. Eventually say it, which yeah, Dom still never lets that go.
That's funny. That is so funny though. Like the fact that, I mean, I'd probably do the same. Like I do not blame you for that at all, but there's like the fact that there was like so much going on. It's like your name just completely left your head. It's like who needs hypnosis to forget your name? Just go on a TV show.
Yeah. It was another thing. It was their reactions that shocked me, because on TV you kind of have them kind of like very serious, but that wasn't their initial reaction. When me and Dom kind of walked in the little doors that they had, everyone was so excited to see us, and it shocked me. They were like, "You're not supposed to be excited. They're new competition."
Right. Yeah, because they very much posed it in the show of like, oh, it's these two kind of like teen guys coming in. It's like they think they're the hot stuff. That's kind of how they like edited it in the final cut. But it seems like it wasn't really like that.
If you thought we were cocky, arrogant teens in the show, if you thought we were cocky, arrogant teens on the show, we weren't. We were scared to death.
I can imagine, that's for sure. Like, I don't blame you guys at all, but it's interesting to see how reality TV works and how they kind of shift the story for it.
Yeah.
That's really fun to hear, though. So, besides the, like, you forgetting your name part, are there any other, like, funny stories from, like, behind the scenes of Lego Masters that you're allowed to share?
Oh, man. It was so long ago. I mean, it was filmed probably close to 2 years ago, which... the highlights were definitely the people. Just getting to meet everyone and kind of get to connect with everyone is just amazing. And getting to know Dom even more, that was another thing. It was amazing. And also another thing that was really cool is just kind of building. You kind of have unlimited bricks. Just the building was also super cool, and meeting everybody and kind of seeing the behind the scenes of everything. I was like, I wouldn't trade that. I feel like I learned a lot that I kind of included with my channel just by observing the behind the scenes and how everything's made.
Right.
But let me think. Any stories?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me think. I remember my birthday was during Lego Masters. Actually, it was in the middle of the dog episode. So it was really cool. They provided cupcakes and all that, which it was the best cupcakes ever. I experienced my birthday. How old was I? I think it was 19. I turned 19 during Lego Masters. So that was super cool. Let me see. Another story. I don't know. It's so long ago. I'm sure some will pop up, but that's what's on my mind right now.
That sounds good. If you remember any throughout the episode, feel free to interrupt and say them. And I was gonna say as well, like I think you can see like in some shots of some episodes, sometimes they'll show like the actual camera crew and like the big equipment they use. And was it like distracting at all to like be focusing on your build and just a giant camera rig with a bunch of people come like filming what you're doing? And it's like, does that put on more
Yeah.
stress or did it distract you at all?
The first episode was the trial run with us, the tree episode, where we built a tree house. That was kind of a trial run because that's where we kind of learned everything. I learned not to sprint the whole 10 hours because you feel it the next day. So it's stuff like that that's like you kind of learn and adjust. But with the cameras, you definitely notice it. It's like it reminds me from like Jarvis from Iron Man. It's like, or like the Pixar lamp. It looks at you sometimes. So it's like it's funny. And me and Dom sometimes we would see a camera and just start rambling random stuff. I think one of them actually made it on Lego Masters where we made up like a little song like my name's Ethan and my name's Dom and we build Lego all night long. I think that one actually made it on the show. We just did random stuff. So it's funny looking back. And honestly, this is another thing. I haven't rewatched Lego Masters. I only watched my season once. So I really need to rewatch and kind of see how if like my perspective changes and like I need to rewatch it one day. But I did remember a random story. This was also during the dog episode. Actually, it was like a week after the dog episode. So this was probably during the pirate ship episode where they gave me and Dom this random bin of brown parts. And they said, we accidentally destroyed the mock before the main mock pictures or video. Can y'all rebuild this? And that's the first time I said no.
Oh my god.
It's like, how about no? It's like we're in the middle of this.
So they accidentally destroyed the mock you'd made before the pictures.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's like I guess they go through like several rounds of pictures. Like the beauty shots, I believe it was good, but like the video, I think that's what they're missing. Because if you look at the episode, it looks like two separate builds. Once they kind of have the showcase around it, it's funny.
That is funny. And they accepted the no. They were like, fine. I guess it's our fault.
Well, I think they understood that we literally didn't have time. I mean,
yeah. Fair enough. No, I get that. That is insane. I can't believe they broke that. That's awful.
yeah.
And how much, like, so you said that, for example, like, a little bit of your guys, like, kind of messing around when the camera was on you got into the actual episodes, but how much of, like, just kind of stuff in between or little fun moments, like, do you think actually, like, made it to air? Like, what percentage would you say?
Oh,
because I know they cut a lot.
Very small. I remember watching and be like, man, they cut this, or, like, there's so much. But there's some things that I am glad that they kept, like with that little song that we had. But there was so much that they cut. It's only a 40-minute episode. You can only have so much with, like, by the time that we popped up, there were probably like 10 teams left, and you get more details as the challenge goes along, and less teams are in the competition. But we kind of we're in the middle, so we got a lot of screen time. I'm not gonna lie, we got a lot of screen time for the episodes that we were in, so that was really cool. But there was still a lot of details that were cut.
I see. As well as, if I'm correct, like I've heard many contestants say before that the episodes they're not all filmed in one go, right? Like sometimes they will split it up over like a couple days, right?
Yes, I would say the average is like 2 to 3 days per episode.
Okay.
With Saturdays were like interview days.
I see. So, with the interviews in between, because I wasn't sure if, like, they stop you while you're building and are like, all right, time for a quick interview, or if you had to do it after the episode was filmed, so they do it, like, in between each of the days then?
Honestly, if thinking back, I think there were interviews probably every day. Like, if something exciting happened, they would kind of put you in the interview room pretty quick to get your initial reaction with it. But, like, to get the rest, like, I guess their filler of what didn't happen, they would do that on Saturdays. And there would be sometimes we grab, 3 of our outfits for each episode and get, everything, like 3 episodes sometimes on a Saturday, which is cool because we have hours of video footage. So there's somewhere in their vault, the Lego Masters vault, they have hours of footage that of just us in the podcast. Just it felt very similar, like a podcast, just in the interviews.
That's cool to hear. So they would sometimes pull you away after something happened then, like during the middle of building time. That must have been slightly stressful.
Not when the time the clock was running. But
Okay.
Usually never when the clock was running.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Because I was going to say, like, that must be stressful. Like, I can't talk right now. I'm building.
Yeah.
I see. So I'd say the final Lego Masters question for now anyways is, what was your favorite build that you guys did from Lego Masters?
Ooh, if Dom was here with me, which he's in here with Spirit, it would be Monster Camp. Camp, that was Dom. I heard him all the way from Pennsylvania. But that build was it was everything that we had envisioned. And one day, me and Dom recently talked about it, is one day we would love to recreate it out of Lego somewhere and display it at a convention. But I absolutely love that build. It's got all the formula, like it's got all the ingredients for an Ethan and Dom build. It's got wacky characters, it's got terrain, it's got fun buildings, it's got it even had motors, which Dom did amazing with the motors. Dom had like a monster doing this, and then he had the little tentacles in the pool. I'm proud of us both with that build.
Monster Camp was such a fun and expressive build. I definitely see why that one's like your guys' favorite. Also, real quick, that just made me think, did you guys ever hide like any details in some of your builds of like funny little things that didn't quite show on air, but it was like, if you look close enough, you'll see this little thing?
So after the pirate ship episode, we had, that was Monkey Mutiny. We had a monkey, and I believe we had a monkey in every single one of our builds after that. Which is funny. And even Dom during the Christmas special, I believe he kept that trend going, and that hit some.
That's cool.
That was definitely a main one. Let's see. I think that's the main one. I'm sure. I remember after building the pirate ship, I was like, man, I want to build a pirate ship at home. Like, I've been wanting to build like just a steampunk pirate ship. That's been an idea for years. I just haven't done.
Ooh.
I really like the interior of during Monster Camp. There was like that monster house building. I wish it would have shown like the details in there. I had like it was really cool details with like letters that the parents would send.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. That's cool though. I love the like hidden monkeys in the other builds. I didn't notice that, but that's cool to know now. It's like there's a monkey somewhere in these other builds of yours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Another thing, back to Monster Camp. One thing that I was pretty proud of was that little bonfire in the middle. I had light bricks on each side, so I was able to grab the little bonfire and set it in there, and it would activate all the lights to turn on. Oh. And it didn't really highlight that well.
That's so clever, though. I really like that. Mm-hmm. That's a really cool technique. And I guess, yeah, like, that's the issue, and I think I've heard before, it's like, you can't, like, details will sometimes be missed just because of, like, the nature of the show and all that. You kind of, like, the details are great for bringing it alive, but once again, there's also a difference between, like, mock building to be, like, displayed at a convention versus mock building for, like, Lego Masters, yeah?
Yes. 100%. It's night and day, it feels like. Because I remember spending, like, looking back, you kind of, like, you spent details on this where you probably didn't need to spend those details on it because, like, during our treehouse build, it had a back to it, and the back was a finished build, but thinking back, I don't even think that was shown. So I was like, man, I wasted a lot of time with that. So it's kind of, I think, a good way to you kind of look at it as like percentages, where it's like you kind of dedicate a time to plan, dedicate time to build quick, get the idea, like get your idea on in physical form, and the last 2 hours, if you have time, that's when you do the detail work, because the main structure is the most important part of it.
That's good to know. That's good advice for anyone listening who might be a future Lego Masters contestant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another good rule of thumb is, I forgot, it was like the 10-3-1 rule. It was like to look at your mark from 10 feet away, look at your mark from like 3 feet away, and look at it from 1 foot away. Just to kind of, when you look at it on TV, you're seeing it from 10 feet away. It's that what does it look like far away? And then that's really the most important part. Then what does it look like from 2 feet away? That's when you do the detail work. And then if you have extra time, that's when you can do the little hidden gems.
I see what you're saying. That's clever because it's like making sure it looks good from a few different, like the handful of like main perspectives that it'll be looked at from.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's good. Now I was gonna say actually, so what has it been like after Lego Masters, kind of like getting recognized by fans at like conventions or places like that? Like how has it been kind of adjusting to that?
It's been crazy. It's fun. It's like getting recognized means the world to me because it's like I never thought in a million years that would happen. And it's just going to the conventions is the best thing ever, and it's going to all these Lego conventions and meeting everyone that recognized me from Lego Masters or whether it's from Lego Masters or from the channel. It just means the world to meet everyone and just get to know y'all. It's the best experience.
That's awesome. I see. So you also get recognized like outside of conventions as well, just like in regular life?
Very few times. I think three times. Lastly was during Virginia, when I was out in Washington D.C. With in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and he didn't even know the Lego convention. It's just a little kid. It was like, are you EthanTheArtisan? And I'm like, yeah. I did a picture. It was super cool. I was in front of Sam, Matt Mellish, and Jonathan, mini superheroes today. It was a flex.
That's so cool. I love the fact that, like, I mean, you did get recognized at the convention, but, like, you also just happened to get recognized, like, over in front of the Lincoln Memorial of all places.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's so cool. Also, how's everything going with the 45,000 pieces that you got?
Oh, man. It's crazy. Honestly, it's very mixed with my collection, so it's like I can't just point to an area in my room, and that's the 45,000 parts. It's dispersed within the collection, so it's been amazing. Especially the quantity of parts as well. I've probably opened up every bag and used most of them.
That's good. I'm glad to hear, because I know, like, I think some teams were, like, just overwhelmed with I know, like, I think Dom got, like, overwhelmed with the amount of pieces, right? It's like, what do I do with all this Lego?
Yeah. Dom went for size. Dom got twice as much, like, I got 9 boxes whenever it arrived during at my house. Dom got 18 boxes, so he went for more quantity. So I picked parts that I would actually use.
I see.
So even the 200 gray base plates that I got, I built something only using those, which was very difficult. But it's crazy. A stack of 200 base plates is quite intense.
It's a builder's dream. That's so cool, though.
Yeah.
I love that you were able to make something out of that. So I'm going to ask some specifically TFOL related questions now.
Okay.
So, I mean, the first part of this question is kind of already answered, but I'm still going to ask the whole thing anyways, which is, were you once a TFOL? And if so, what was your experience as one like? Did people ever give you a hard time for being a Lego fan as a teenager? And just what was it like overall?
So, growing up as a TFOL, I still, in a way, I still feel like a TFOL. I feel like there's not much difference between me 5 years ago and today. The experiences are different. I feel like so much has happened, but in the end, I'm the same but different. I'm the same, but I've grown a lot. Like growing up as a TFOL, I would say I'm sure I was just unaware of it. I was naive about the if I was getting flagged because I grew up with playing baseball as well with a bunch of other homeschooled people, kids. So there's definitely every now and then you would see another teen that was into Lego, but at the end it was like you don't see it often, especially during the teens. But I was vocal about it, but at the same time I was like, that wasn't all I talked about was Lego. So I'm sure I was made fun of, but I just was unaware of it because I honestly didn't care.
Exactly. And if like you don't care about it, then that's all
Hmm.
good because once again, it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect you at all.
Hmm.
And
My advice to the young teens: embrace your quirks because your 20-year-old self will appreciate you for it.
exactly. No, I think that's fantastic advice. And once again, as well, like as you see, you don't like stop being like a teenager at heart when you hit like official adult age because like even though you may not be a technical teenager, it's like that's still who you are. You're only 1 year out of being within the technical teen space, and it's about having that like inner youth. I think that like always sticks with you, inner child, whatever you like to call it. That essence of who you are as a person.
Yes. Hmm.
And you also mentioned that so you grew up homeschooled. Now, what was that like for you? Kind of like how did it affect your relationship with Lego at all? If you think it affected it at all, and that kind of thing.
Well, during with homeschooling, you have to be very disciplined with it, because you're the only one that's going to do the work. You're not going to have, you know, so homeschooling really teaches you discipline. So when applying that to Lego building, it's like and applying that to Lego building and social media helps you become consistent with it. And work hard work with it.
I was just gonna say that's really cool to hear because I think a lot of people's thoughts it's like, oh, people who are homeschooled, it's like they just don't have any routine or this side or the other. But no, like once again, people fit it to how it works for them best, and like once again, it can be very disciplined, like you said, and really teach you how to not have someone else have to stay on top of you for getting stuff done, but to be accountable for yourself doing things.
Yes, and on another note, when I was younger, I had a lot of hobbies growing up that they're still my hobbies now. I just Lego's the main hobby, but growing up, I had a lot of hobbies. I did a lot of card magic, guitar, piano, baseball, and it left me a lot of time. Because I would do my work, but it also left me time to do things that I really enjoyed as well. Which I don't think if I was in a public school or doing that, I don't think I would have time to do that. So it gives you that time to do whatever, in your free time.
Exactly. So it really give you the space to kind of like grow the things that you enjoy as well as once again like Lego specifically and have the time to I guess practice your skills and to create all the content you made as well.
Yes, learning things that really interest me.
Right, yeah, exactly, because that's the big thing. It's like you get to focus on the things that are actually like useful to your life and that actually help you get to where you want to be as well.
Hmm.
That's really cool to hear. I found it like so crazy when I heard like you and some other people in the Lego space were homeschooled. I was like, "Oh my god, what? That's crazy." I thought I was the only one, but that's so cool to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah, it's super cool, especially in like the Texas area. It feels like everyone's homeschooled. Like if you go to like Brick Rodeo, the amount of like homeschooled, like the homeschooled Christian in just that area in Texas, like at Brick Rodeo, it's kind of high. It feels like, which is cool.
Really? That's crazy.
Hmm.
I didn't realize that. There should be like what's it like a homeschooled Lego fans lug or something like that.
Yeah.
Home
Hmm.
lug or something.
Home lug.
That would be funny. Patenting that, copyright this, that, and the other. Yeah.
Hmm.
So let's see. Da-da-da. So I'm assuming you never had a dark age then.
I never had a dark age. I mean, I have never had a dark age. There might have been days where I didn't touch a Lego, but most maybe hours that I didn't touch a Lego. But looking back, I never had a dark age.
I like that. It's like there might have been like a day I didn't build with Lego. Oh my god.
Yeah. And if not, I was probably watching or doing something that helped the journey along the way.
Exactly. There was still some kind of connection with Lego throughout those dark times. So I'm assuming you didn't really have like a lot of friends that were into Lego, I guess, aside from your siblings, yeah?
I would say like as big as Lego fans to me. It depends on what era you're looking at. Like if you're looking at like from 10 to 14, I had a few friends that were just as big into Lego, like pretty big into Lego, and kind of it was Lego and Star Wars and like movies like that we kind of had my little friend group. But then kind of once like COVID happened, that's when I kind of stopped. It was kind of like me, they kind of moved on, and it's kind of like just me. So it's like during like the COVID area, like 2019 to COVID, that's kind of when I was like just me with Lego, kind of discovering the online presence of it.
I see what you're saying, yeah. And I asked because I remember before you said that like there weren't really a ton of kids around who were like really into it properly, but that's cool to hear. It's kind of like I'm assuming did a lot of those friends kind of like go into their dark ages as they got a bit older?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I always had a few friends that were into Lego. I'm calling anyone like Lego, and eventually a few of them that could handle me did.
I like that. You just go into the playground. It's like, okay, who likes Lego? You?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're my friend now.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that. And that's totally like how we made friends as homeschoolers, no? Just like you go out and just talk to people. It's like, you like this thing, I like this thing? Nice.
Nice.
Alright, let's see. So, if Lego was going to start focusing more on teens, like they have with the whole Adults Welcome campaign, what do you think they could do for teenagers specifically?
Ooh. I'm a big dreams advocate. I love the crazy ideas with dreams and the parts that you get from them too. So I think dreams is cool just because it's like you can do anything with it. It's literally just your imagination, and that's the aspect that I love. It's like if I was behind anything and like if I designed sets, I feel like it'd be something very similar to dreams. And also the creator sets are amazing this year. I think Aaron from season 1 of Lego Masters, he designed those. I think his name's Aaron Newman, and he designed a lot of the creator sets that are they're amazing. But sets that teens would love. Well, teens love movies. So more Dune sets. I just watched the new Dune movie. I want more Dune. I still need to get the first Dune set that came out, but I want more Dune because I absolutely love the first one and the second one. So basically more I guess random movies maybe. Let's see. What is
Are you
something
thinking
that
more like kind of like relevant things that are more relevant to teenagers?
maybe like pop culture. Maybe like gaming. I don't know. What is I'm not like I wasn't like your normal teen, so my ideas probably aren't as popular.
I see. Well, I'm curious to hear though, what are your ideas regardless of them maybe not being the most popular?
I don't know. I like characters, so like some sort of wacky character, maybe something with like motion. Another build that I'm like really proud of that I think would transform really well with a set is I built it was one of the minifigures. It was what is it? It was like a kid's room with like an imagination bubble. It's behind me. It's that one.
Yeah.
I really like that build, and I think that would transform really well into a set. It's like a kid's room, and it has like a little thought bubble that transforms into her imagination, which is really cool.
I see. That's
so it's
really
like,
cool.
Mm-hmm. Kind of that embrace your imagination type builds like that. What are other ideas? Well, I mean, I love medieval. I think bringing back like Lord of the Rings was a great thing, and I would love to see more Lord of the Rings sets. What about you? What do you see? Like, what sets do you think would be great?
Well,
I'm reversing. Sets... This is.
Yeah.
I'm asking you the questions now.
Oh, how the turntables.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I mean, I think if it comes to like sets specifically, I think once again, like you mentioned, stuff that's more relevant to just like younger audiences or people, of our generation. So things like you said, like more Dune sets, stuff like Transformers, which is also great for people outside of our generation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Things like, doing Avatar: The Last Airbender sets.
Yes!
Considering that's like an icon. Yeah. Absolutely. Just things that are more relevant in pop culture. I think it was like a really good move that they did Lego Fortnite, and like I think the way they did the game, though I haven't played it yet because it takes up a lot of space,
Yeah,
it looks
I haven't
really
played it
cool.
either.
Yeah, it looks super cool, and I think it was good that they finally did that. A bit late, but I think it's good that they did that still. However, now I think for that, like, we just need sets. Wink, wink.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yeah, things like that and more relevant things, whether it be games, TV shows, things of that sort that are in that kind of like a mid price range, so teens could afford them,
Mm-hmm.
and that are a good mix between a display piece but also have some kind of functionality, like the Dune set, for example, where it's like it's a solid display piece but it has just the key functions that bring it to life, like the wings folding out and flapping. Doesn't need anything too crazy, but that just kind of enhance the experience a bit more, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I do think there is a such thing as a too perfect set. Like, I think a set should kind of like give you the the main idea, but I think having like a set, like, I think Star Wars is struggling with this too. It's too perfect, and it's like you kind of just set it on your shelf and you don't really care to extend it. There's like a few sets that just pop in my mind, like that from like 5 years ago, that Battle of Scarif set. That was like, it kind of, you had the main minifigures, you had the bunker, and you get the main idea, but it kind of inspires you to kind of extend it or build your own Scarif. You know, I love sets that kind of like leave you wanting more, where you can get parts from your own collection and add it to it, or kind of something that leads. I feel like with the rate how well sets are doing well, like how the sets look, I feel like mock building is just becoming go downhill and downhill. Because why create a mock when you have a perfect set?
I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Because let's say if you do build a Hoth mock, if Hoth mocks used to be like really impressive because an AT-AT didn't exist. People would build their own ones, and now if you see a Hoth mock, and even if you do build your own AT-AT, there's a Lego set there. It's like, is it as impressive? Or I don't know. Even though the ATT, it's a perfect Star Wars set. I don't have it, but it looks beautiful.
I see what you're saying there. It's almost the idea of like kind of, I guess, the set being too perfect, like you said, to the point of it discouraging making a mock of it if it's something from like an IP, because it's like, well, why would I need to do that if this set already kind of gets the job done? That's an interesting point. I've never heard somebody bring that up before.
Mm-hmm. It may be a wacky idea, but it's something that's like I've thought of because, do you build your own AT-AT? If I built a Hoth mock, would I build my own AT-AT or would I get the set? I don't know.
I see. That's really cool to note, actually. And yeah, you're right, because I have seen more recently people just kind of building like bases around like already made sets rather than building the whole thing themselves. So like they'll create like a white base, but then just put the UCS AT-AT on it with a few tiny builds around it, or more that kind of thing. Which, I mean, if you just want to do it just for the fun of it, go for it. Like if that makes you happy. But it's nice when people also kind of like design the thing themselves, give it their own touch, like that those centerpieces.
Mm-hmm. My thing is, it's all right to use sets in your build as long as it's not the main centerpiece. Like if you,
yes,
I think that's a good define. At least that's for me. You can do whatever you want. This is Lego. You can kind of do whatever you want. I think that would be toxic if I said do it like this.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with what you said there about like kind of preferring if the main centerpiece is still like an original work rather than a set. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And once again though, like you said, that's just a personal preference. Like whatever makes you happy, go for that. But I get what you're saying there. But yeah, I think like to kind of finish off that thing with the teen stuff, like with the sets, I think the things I mentioned before, but I also think there needs to be a whole theme or line or campaign that's specifically directed towards teens, like the Adults Welcome campaign. And something that doesn't feel like it's pandering, but just feels like it's something that teens would enjoy, kind of like what Bionicle was. Like it wasn't trying too hard, it didn't feel like, or even if it did it well, That didn't feel like it was talking down to anybody. It felt like it was researched well. And I'm not saying Bionicle needs to come back, though that would be awesome. But just something.
It already tried that. It can't. Maybe third time's a charm, though.
There are rumors. Who knows? But yeah, it's like that. Just kind of the essence of what it did there. So, what do you think would be a good way of stopping TFOLs from going into their dark ages? Like something that Lego could do, for example, or just something generally like that.
Okay, this is the closest I've ever been to a dark age. This is it. Start having an idea, watching a Solid Brick Studios build and go, wow, that's an amazing mock, and trying to start a mock the size of your table.
Whoa.
Especially when you're young, like if you got the money and you're able to do that, go right ahead. But I didn't have a lot of money, like when I was a teen, and I would start. I probably did this 4 times. I would start a project and I wouldn't be able to finish it because my expectations were too exaggerated. Create realistic goals whenever you're building a mock. Start small and work your way up. That's how I think the best thing to not get into a dark age through the mock building perspective. Through the set, like if you're collecting sets, I don't know. I feel like it's easier to be a Lego fan when you're an adult now because all the sets are 18 plus. So, but through the mock building perspective, start small, work your way up, and that can be either way. You know, whether it's a freeform base or just a regular black bordered base, or maybe it's a character build with no base. Kind of start small, work your way up. That's like my most important advice with that. And take inspiration. Take inspiration from other builders. Like one of my favorite builders, that was a Star Wars builder. His username is First Order Lego, and he's got some amazing freeform, mostly Star Wars Battlefront builds. And I just absolutely adore his style. And I remember zooming in up on his videos, looking at what pieces he uses, doing a bricks and pieces order that next day of all the parts that I got, and create my own and kind of build my own, get inspired from other builders. Not necessarily stealing his style, but taking inspiration and using the parts to create your own.
I think that's really good there, what you said. And it applies to like Lego and all sorts of like artistic endeavors as well, which is to like, it's good to have the inspiration, but also not to like bite off more than you can chew at the very beginning, because you can discourage yourself that way. It's like with just creating like, say, like a drawing or something as well. Like you may be like a big fan of, say, like anime, and you want to draw the most complex, cool scene ever, but if you don't have the skills to do that, you're going to get frustrated with it and then feel like you can't do it, and then you may stop because of that. But if you build up your skills over time, then you will eventually be able to do that. And like you said, with mock building, it's the exact same thing, where it's like build your skills over time and not to jump too far ahead, because then you can just get frustrated and not want to do it again.
Mm-hmm. I am exactly like that, but with drawing. I cannot draw to save my life. I remember a few months ago, I just tried to draw a character. I can't do anything better than a stick figure. I did a really nice sphere, though. I did a little shadowing. I was pretty proud of that.
The spheres.
YouTube
spheres are always so tough. Hell yeah. Exactly, though. No, man, but once again, if you apply the same thing with the Lego building, you will get there with the art, trust me. I know, that's really cool as well. And like I like what you said as well before about it was about looking, like, getting inspiration from other builders, because once again, it's really good, like you said, to get like a reference, or just once again just inspiration generally from other people to inspire your work. And there's a term that's used in the art world a lot, which is steal like an artist, not like a thief, which basically means you're not taking someone's work and claiming it as your own, but you're adapting it to your own style and using it to further improve your own skills. Mm-hmm. Putting your spin on it.
That's a perfect way to put it, because you can go the opposite way of, I'm afraid to start building because I don't want to steal you got to find the right balance of taking inspiration, because I look at people's content all the time, and I get inspired all the time, and you just have to learn to take inspiration from them and apply it to your own style. I think that's a perfect way to put it.
Definitely. And like, it's
but I
totally
like that.
Okay.
I steal like an artist, not like a thief.
Yeah, it's a great thing for just like all sorts of art forms generally. It's really good. And yeah, like for example, like it's okay to use techniques that you see, like building techniques that you see other people do, because like that's how everyone in the space has done it. They've seen someone use a technique and have gone, oh shoot, that's really good. I'll use that in my next build. And like if it's just like a widely used technique, then yeah, once again, you don't even have to like necessarily give specific credit. But if like one person has specifically come up with the technique, then you could just say, hey, I use this technique that this guy came up with, and here it is in the build, and it's totally okay to adapt that to your own builds.
I mean, look at Marvel and DC. You know, like in DC have a version of Iron Man that was first, but Marvel took inspiration and made it better. That's kind of it's like that with vice versa with Marvel and DC, where it's like they take inspiration from each other. It looks from the outside looking at it, but it's like it's funny that you can take inspiration and kind of make it your own and improve it from your perspective.
Exactly, yeah. And that's cool that you mentioned First Order Lego, Luca, because I think he became a set designer recently as well for Lego.
He did, and I've noticed he's been doing like some posts on their Instagram, at least some builds that I've noticed. He's one of my favorite builders.
Yeah, no, Luca's absolutely great. I met him at Bricktastic last year and again this year, and he's a cool guy.
I need to meet him. I'm going to fanboy over him.
You haven't met him. Oh, you gotta meet him. He's really chill and tall.
Really?
Yes. But yeah. So I'm gonna ask a couple more viewer submitted questions now. One is from Charlie_08, who asks, how much Lego do you get throughout a year?
Oh my. Well, last year probably tops it because I got the 45,000. But I.
Fair.
Oh man, I get a lot. I mean, just yesterday I went to the Lego store and got like 2-3 Pick-a-Brick boxes now. So.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Probably. I mean, it's how do you calculate that? I mean, I could show you my background, and there's boxes everywhere. I mean, I every now and then, if there's bulk Lego that I like, there's a lot of times you can get like a 10-pound, 15-pound bulk Lego thing online. That's also I get probably 1 or 2 a month of where you can just order bulk Lego. That's a good way to get it because I love it's. There's nothing more exciting when you get a box of just random bulk Lego and picking through it, finding, oh, that's a cool piece, or, oh, I don't have this piece. That's one of my favorite things in the world. Like, I would rather buy bulk Lego and dig through it than a set.
That's so cool. I love that. Speaking of bulk Lego, have you heard of the Pick-a-Brick section in the Legoland Discovery Center in Germany? I think it is.
Oh, I might have, I don't know if I've heard of that. I know I've heard something in Germany where you can get, like, a lot of, like, Lego. But that might be it.
I think Duckbricks did a video on it, and it was like it's basically at the end of like one of the discovery centers in Germany. They have like this huge Pick-a-Brick that's in like a warehouse, and it's like you fill up bags of it, and it's just that you take handfuls of just the pieces, and it's weighed. It's charged by weight rather than like per bag. And, like, they just have all sorts of pieces and, like, rare ones and, like, animal pieces, which those you have to pay for separately. But, like, you can just, they have all sorts of stuff, and it's, like, Pick-a-Brick heaven, basically. Like, the ultimate Pick-a-Brick.
I'm adding that to my bucket list right now. Y'all do the kilograms. I wish we had the kilograms. We got the pounds.
Right? Exactly. We should all, like, arrange a giant trip to that one Pick-a-Brick place.
Yeah, man. One day.
One day, exactly. But no, that's cool. I get that. And we have the next question, which is by Republic Studs, who asks, where do you see your platform 5 years from now?
Oh, 5 years from now. Okay. It's I've heard the saying, life is best understood looking back. And I feels like I've grown a lot just in the last 6 months alone. So I don't know if I keep up the pace. I mean, I like to exaggerate because last year I didn't think I would hit 1 million on YouTube, but I was like, that's the goal. I think I can hit 1 million, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. And I ended up hitting 1 million. And I'm kind of like, with this year, I'm like, can I hit 2.5 million on YouTube? I don't know, but I'm going to put in the work and try my best to achieve that. So 5 years from now. Honestly, I mean, I'm already full time, so 5 years from now, I would like to maybe have like an Ethan the Artisan team. That would be pretty cool. Have someone that
Ooh.
sorts the bricks, someone that helps film. Kind of like an Ethan the Artisan team would be pretty cool. Kind of just help make my work easier so I can do more. Maybe like an editor, because I'm a solo team, but with my mom occasionally helps film the intros to my videos, which is super cool.
That's
But
so
having an
cool.
Ethan the Artisan team would be pretty cool. Let's see. What is something else that I see myself? 5 years is a long time.
It
Um,
is. It is.
I mean, what year is that? 2020. That's 2029. That's close to 2030. I will be. How
Ooh.
old would I be? I would be 26. Um, Man, would there be an Ethan the Artisan Jr. in that time? I don't know.
Who knows exactly? Maybe.
I don't know. I
It
doubt it.
is. Yeah, you can take your time. It's all good. But yeah, like I think it's definitely a difficult time span to really think about. It's always like the where do you see yourself 5 years from now thing is always a tough one. But
hmm
I like what you said about like having a team to help you with your videos. I think that would be really good.
Yeah.
Because then you can
And
like more efficiently get it done without having to spend too much time on like editing or whatever process you don't enjoy doing as much.
and another thing that I do say to myself, and this is more like every year I say this, is to turn my worst month, or no, to turn my best month into an average that next year. And that's like my goal is to turn
Oh,
my best month last year into an average. And that would, like, if I do that every year, that would be great. And
that is so good. I've never heard that before, but that is such a good like mindset to have. It's like kind of
mhm.
upping the norm every time for it to be more positive and more positive each time.
Because it's like it's realistic expectations. Like I've done it before, I can do it consistently. It's like it doesn't. It's
I,
it's not just throwing a random number out there and going, oh, okay, let's try to do this. It's kind of realistic because I think setting realistic expectations and goals is big. Dream big, but make sure they're realistic.
exactly. No, I really like that. I really like that. Once again, it's about building up, just like you mentioned with the mock building. You can do that with life too. It's like things aren't going to become perfect overnight, but you slowly build up to that by doing things like making your best month a normal month for you the next one and all that, and slowly building up the, I guess, kind of like happiness in your
The
life or good
momentum.
things happening or the
Yes, and
momentum.
that too.
Exactly. So, do you run a YouTube channel now as well? But my question is, do you enjoy making short form content or long form content more? And why so for whichever answer it is?
So, oh, this is tough because I really enjoy both. It's like comparing apples to oranges. It feels like because it's like it's two totally different mindsets. So I love shorts because I can get it. I can usually, if I have the idea, I can get the video out in like a day and a half, 2 days if I work quick. Depends on what it is. It's all subjective whether it's if the builds are big or if it's a long video. But if I get an idea, I can get it out really quick, and have a short. 2 to 3 days max with it. Sometimes it is longer, but with long form, it feels like 10 shorts into one, kind of 10 shorts and kind of just stacking them on top of each other. But it's also filming the other way with the horizontal mode. It's what's one thing that's funny. I don't create a lot of long form, and that's like one of my goals for really this year. I told myself last year I want a long form every month, and we're already in the third month in now, and I haven't created one. So maybe after this podcast, I'll start on a long form, and maybe, but it's just a whole other ball game. And after every long form, I always start that next TikTok filming the intro the wrong way. Forgetting to. So it's like it's so hard to adjust. But I would love to one day. Really, the idea that's in my head, I would like to have eventually get to where I do one long form a month and like a short once a week. That's like the goal, but it's hard to do the transformation from short to, you know, uh, doing long form. I gotta find that right balance to get both a short form and long form, because you hear a lot of people say it's very difficult to do both long form and short form. People say that it affects your views, but my goal is to be that one that makes it happen. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I totally see you're getting there. It's like the kind of interesting, like it's a big difference between the two, that's for sure. And I think it's really cool. What I noticed is kind of how you're still looking at long form content with kind of like the short form content lens of like, oh, this longer video is just 10 shorts stacked on top of each other. That's really cool.
And I feel like
That's...
just watching YouTube, you kind of see that a lot. It's like whenever I did school, homeschooled, if you were to write a paper, you kind of have like how I was taught. I was taught to have a body and three main, the thesis and the three main points. And making a video is very similar to creating a research paper, or like some sort, or like a book report or something. You have your three main points, the intro and your three main points. And I kind of applied what I learned when I did school, and with whether it's a short or long form. Because if you've noticed with my videos, most likely there's three main points. Three, each one being a mock. So that's really cool to think about, looking back.
I see. That's really interesting to hear. I really like that. All right. So for the final question of the episode, do you have any advice for TFOLs?
Ooh. Okay. So one thing is to finding balance. I think finding balance is very important. I struggled with this last year because it was Lego. Lego was too much. It was my main thing last year. And I'm glad I did that. But you got to find balance with your hobbies and your relationships with your friends and family, and just finding balance with that. With building, like I said earlier, starting small. Starting small is you got to start small and work your way bigger. That is another thing. And this is for me. Making God part of my life is one of the best things that I've done. He's given me peace, purpose, and that true joy. So that's like my three little things that just at the top of my mind that has helped me. But it's ultimately, what gives you joy, and I like I say this a lot. I want to be a light to the world. So.
Right. Yeah. It's like about finding your purpose as well, right? Exactly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I really like that. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Ethan. It was awesome having you. And before we end this episode, do you have any social media or other things like that you would like to plug?
So you can find me on EthanTheArtisan on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and maybe a Flickr. I don't know. That might be my old username. I forget. But we all know that the OG Lego mock builders were on Flickr. But YouTube and TikTok and Instagram are my three main platforms.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. It means the world, and I hope you enjoyed. Links to the things and people we talked about, well, at least some of them anyways, will be in the description as always. New episodes now released once every 2 weeks on Tuesdays for TFOL Talk Tuesday, and you can find updates, announcements, and more regarding the podcast over on my Twitter or Instagram, both of which are at DoodleBricks. Anyways, that's all for now, and we'll see you all later.
Bye!